Greetings, YouTube. Today I'll be linking to an article about a woman who uses a cane and the rather horrible encounter she has in public because she uses a cane. Because you see, she's young. She looks like the type of person that wouldn't use a cane. That is, if you had a prejudiced an opinion and attitude about who should and shouldn't be using a cane. And the offensive things that are said to her on a regular basis in public because she uses a cane. Not just having people speak poorly about her, but actually having a preteen kick the cane out from her, under her and causing her to fall down in a store. Why? Apparently the preteen didn't think she needed the cane. She did. And how we judge other people in this regard is a measure of us, not the person using the cane. Now this right here is a cane. I actually have a video somewhere on my hard drive about this cane and a couple of other canes I've got in my collection. I have more than one. I made a cane and a walking stick. I've done videos on those. But this one is one that I happen to be very, very fond of. It's my favorite. This is a cornelian stone, brass setting for it. And yes, this is a whale's tooth. It was collected in the 19th century, so it was not done when the prohibition on harvesting whales was in effect, so don't freak out. But I happen to love this thing. And while it does look like it, in fact it is made out of bamboo, it's got a steel shaft that goes all the way through it, so it's quite strong. And I've actually had to use it on rare occasions because I have had mobility issues in the past, mostly because I've had an injured foot, and because I have a bum knee, and at one time when I was much heavier, that was more of an issue. Now that I'm at 165 as opposed to 230, my knees perform much better. But I have mobility issues. I suffer from neuropathy. I am very clumsy when it comes to walking. I can be walking on a flat surface with a dry environment around me, and if I misstep, I can lay my ass out in the ground. And if I can't see where I'm walking, say if I'm carrying something and my view of the ground is blocked and there's something in my way, I can stumble very easily. This is not going to get better. I'm 50. There will be a time in my future where this is no longer something I use occasionally, but it will be something I use on a regular basis. And that's okay. I'm prepared. I also have one made of lucite, so if I ever want to get my pimp look on, I can use that one. At 50, I'm less likely to be judged. And if I don't have to use this on a regular basis until I'm 70, well then that's okay, isn't it? 70-year-olds, they can use canes. What about 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds? Should they be allowed to use canes? Should they be publicly condemned because they do? Should they be allowed to sit in those handicapped seats on buses because they're handicapped? Because they have a physical disability? Or should they be condemned? Should they be given dirty looks? Should they be chastised? Because someone else's limitations are not readily apparent. If you see someone in a wheelchair get up to get something off a shelf, don't think they're faking it. Everyone has different levels of mobility. That person may be able to stand up for 30 or 60 seconds at a time without issue, but they can't walk, and they can't do it forever. My mother-in-law has mobility issues. Her feet can fall asleep while she's standing. Nothing she can do about it. She uses 2 of these things. Though hers isn't as nice as mine. And it's okay. I don't judge her for it. We put a ramp in for her. I accept the fact that everyone's different, and some people have more or less mobility than others. And it's all good. Whether you're 12 or you're 92, it's okay. And we shouldn't be judging people for that. So, if you find yourself doing that in public, if you find you're asking yourself, why is that person sitting in that, parking in that handicap zone? Look to see if they've got a placard. If they have a handicap placard hanging off their mirror or on their license plate, It's none of your bloody business. You don't need to know what their disability is. They've got that placard, you're covered. You don't have to do anything about it. And if they don't, and you think that they are fully able, maybe you could speak to someone about it if you want to. Or maybe not. It's up to you. But accept the fact that because someone is not instantly recognizable as having some kind of mobility issue, there are all kinds of different types of mobility issues. Someone could be getting fatigued in a way that you could not conceive of from walking across a room. I've had that experience when I was sick. Just walking from one room to the other exhausted me. There are disorders where that's how you live forever. And yet, I didn't look any different than I normally did. I was just exhausted because I was ill. And certain types of MS, for example, can do that. So we shouldn't be judging people on how they appear and whether we have decided they make our particular criteria of what is and isn't allowed to have a cane, or our little hover round, or a wheelchair, or park in a handicap zone, or use those seats on the bus. Judge the fact that they can make that decision better than you can. That's what's important. There will be people who try to cheat the system. There will be people who try to get away with stuff. There's always cheaters. There always have been. There always will be. But they're in the minority. And most people use these systems and these devices because they need them. Because they help make their life better. More smooth. So, sorry, there's a sound in the background I just noticed coming from my headphones. So, be kind to people. And if I may paraphrase Will Wheaton, don't be a douche.